Today, I want to talk to you about one of the most misunderstood aspects of real estate, the appraisal. Specifically, let's talk about the big lie when it comes to real estate appraisals. The ideal that it's an exact science, that once you get that appraisal, that number is concrete and final. The truth, it's a professional opinion, not an absolute fact. When you're under contract to purchase a home, your lender will order an appraisal. That appraisal is not for your benefit as the buyer. It's to protect the lender and to make sure that they're not loaning more money than the property is actually worth. But the appraisal, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's shaped by guidelines, yes, but also by individual judgment. That's where the wiggle room comes in. Appraisers are licensed professionals and they're trained and certified by the state, but they must follow procedures. But even with those rules, there's room for interpretation. An appraiser will look at recent home sales, also called comps, that are as similar as possible to the home that you're buying. They make adjustments based on differences between those homes and your square footage, the number of bedrooms, condition, features, location, and more. But here's the kicker. Given the same house to 3 different appraisers, and you could get 3 different values. One appraiser might focus on sales within the immediate neighborhood. Another might use homes within a 1-mile radius. One might give more value to a pool, another might not. One might make a strong adjustment for a recent kitchen renovation, and another might see it as a neutral or no added value. They're all using data, but they're also applying their opinion of how much value certain features or locations should carry. Most buyers don't realize that the appraiser is actually given a copy of the sales contract. They don't just go in line to try to pull out a number from the air. They are looking at the contract and essentially they're asking, are there sales in this area that can justify this price? That's their job, to find support for the sales price that you and the seller have agreed upon. But there's a big difference between an appraisal for a purchase and one for a refinance. When you refinance your mortgage, the lender already has a relationship with you. You've likely got a solid payment history, or you wouldn't even be eligible to refinance in the first place. So they approach the appraisal with a different mindset. Many times, they won't even send the appraiser inside. They might do what's called a desktop appraisal, where they rely on records and photos, or a drive-by appraisal where the appraiser just looks at the outside of the house. In those cases, they're not seeing the upgrades. They're not evaluating condition. They're just checking boxes, and the number they land on may not reflect what the home is actually worth in today's market. So if someone says, my home is worth X because I have an appraisal, you've got to ask, what kind of appraisal? When was it done? Was it a refinance or a purchase? The context matters a lot. At the end of the day, a home is really worth what a buyer is willing to pay for, period. And often, a buyer is willing to pay more than what an appraisal might say, especially in a competitive market. Some appraisers can support that higher price by choosing certain comparable sales. Others might not. It all depends on what sales they choose to use and how they apply their adjustments. Over the course of my real estate career, I have seen this happen many times. A buyer and a seller agree on a price, but the appraisal comes in low. The seller refuses to sell at the lower price. The buyer can't or won't pay the difference out of pocket. So the deal falls apart. Home goes back on the market. Another buyer comes along, offers the same price. A new appraisal is done, this time by a different appraiser. And guess what? That appraiser finds the comps that do support the price. The sale goes through. Same house, same price, different appraisal. I've personally fought appraisals on several occasions. Sometimes I disagree with what the comps they used or the adjustments they've made. I've pulled together new comps I believe are more accurate, and I submit them for review. It's a process, it takes time, and it often means that the closing gets delayed. More often than not, the original appraiser doesn't get amended, but sometimes it does. And when it does, the buyer gets the home they wanted at the price they agreed to, and the lender is satisfied. This is why having a strong agent on your side matters. Someone who understands the appraisal process, someone who knows how to go to bat for you, someone who's willing to gather the evidence and challenge an appraisal that doesn't make sense. This doesn't just apply to buyers. It is equally important when selling if a low appraisal threatens your deal. A good listing agent can help navigate the conversation. It's the buyer who must formally initiate a challenge through their lender, but often it starts with a phone call from one agent to another. Hey, have you looked at those other comps? That kind of collaboration can make a huge difference. Now, if you've had an appraisal done for a refinance, please hear me when I say this. Don't hang your hat on that number. Give it zero weight when you're trying to determine your home's true market value. It is not based on what a buyer would pay. It is not based on real-time market competition. It's based on a limited snapshot meant to satisfy a refinancing lender, not to price your home for sale. Bottom line, the appraisal process is more subjective than most people realize. It is not perfect, it is not always fair, and it is not always accurate. The more you know about how it works, the better prepared you'll be, whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing. And if you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of an appraisal issue, make sure that you have someone on your side who knows how to fight for you.
Hey, it's Jody Callis. And listen, if you don't follow this channel, there's a very good chance that you'll never see me again. I consistently put out helpful content for those that are currently in the real estate market. This information can be extremely helpful for your buying and selling needs. So be sure and like and subscribe here. And most importantly, leave a comment to let us know if this video was helpful for you. We are here to help the Houston and surrounding communities, and we always love your thoughts and questions. Follow now, and then we'll see you with our next helpful video.